Good morning, everyone. Today is Wednesday, September 24th, 2025. It is 10 a.m. and we are holding a licensing authority public meeting here at the town hall in the Crocker hearing room. I want to begin by letting folks know that the meeting will be televised via Xfinity Channel 8 or High Definition Channel 1072, and may also be accessed via the Government Access Channel live stream on the Town of Barnstable's website. Next is our call to order. I am John Flores, Chairperson of the Barnstable Town Licensing Authority. To my left, I'll ask the folks to introduce themselves.
Nancy Carlson-Lidman, Clerk.
Jessica Silver.
Mike Travato.
And to my left, if folks would introduce themselves.
Erin Logan, Licensing Director.
Detective Christopher Kelsey, Barnstable Police Department.
Director of Asset Management, David Anthony.
So I'm going to call this meeting to order, and before we begin, I'm going to appoint Jessica Silver as a voting member, as one of our regular members is not in attendance today. Notice of recording the meeting of the Barnstable Licensing Authority is being recorded and broadcast on the Town of Barnstable's Government Access Channel in accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20. The chair must inquire whether anyone else is recording this meeting, and if so, to please make their presence known. I do not see anyone recording. Next on our agenda is the opportunity for public comment. Is there anyone who would like to make a comment before we begin and go into the individual applications in the individual hearings this morning? Not seeing that. Next item on our agenda is approval of the minutes dated June 25, 2025. I assume the regular members of the board have had the opportunity to read these. Any questions, issues, concerns? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve these.
I move to approve the meeting minutes of June 25th, 2025.
In a second, please. Okay, we've had that motion made with a second. Any further discussion? Not seeing any. All those in favor of approving the minutes of June 2025, June 25th, 2025, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That is a vote. Next, moving into public hearings, number one is a new daily live, an amendment to the daily non-live entertainment. It's an application that was filed by Sam Diego's, doing business as Sam Diego's, located at 950 Iron O Road in Hyannis, to amend the daily non-live entertainment license to include recorded music below conversation level and 9 TVs, and to add new daily live entertainment to include live non-amplified music with 2 performers. The applicant process to host trivia, the applicant proposes to host trivia, bingo, paint night, theme nights such as board games, etc. Hours of all entertainment will be commensurate with their alcohol licensed hours, which are Sunday through Thursday from 11:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. and on Fridays and Saturdays from 11:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. Is there anyone here from Sam Diego's? If you would come up and share with us what you have planned and introduce who you are, please.
My name is Clark Buchanan. Our current plans, we put in on the application several things that we would consider in the future. At this point, what we're looking to do is do trivia night on Tuesdays from 6:30 to 8 o'clock. As you know, we have a very large restaurant, and the most popular portions of the restaurant are off towards the back, away from the entrance. So when people come into our entrance, it's oftentimes seems kind of empty. So we're looking to create a little energy in that front room on Tuesday nights at least. The other things we put on the application are things that we may well consider in the future if the trivia night works. And we're just looking to generate some excitement and bring in some new customers.
And your role with the Sam Diego restaurant is?
I'm sorry, what?
Your role, your position?
I am one of the original owners, and I'm the manager on our liquor license, and I've been there since 1982.
Thank you. Any questions from anyone on the board? Yes.
If you have live entertainment, where in the restaurant will you have that location?
If you're familiar with what we call the new room, which is as you come in the main entrance into the main dining room and take a right into the room that is on the 132 side, we would tuck probably a single guitar player in that little corner where the window is, just so that it would be in that, what we call the new room and that new bar in the back.
Any other questions from anyone on the board? Not hearing any staff comments. I know this is a straightforward application, but are there any comments anyone would like to make?
The only question I would have is, do you anticipate doing any outdoor entertainment?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, I will entertain a motion for item number 1 on the agenda.
I move to approve the new daily live and amend the daily non-live entertainment license for Sam Diego's as submitted.
Second, please.
Second?
Okay, motion's been made with a second. Any final or further discussion on this item? Okay, I'll call the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that is a vote. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Okay, second on our agenda is a new annual daily live entertainment and amend the daily non-live entertainment license by an applicant that has been filed by 235 Ocean Partners LLC, doing business as The Break, located at 235 Ocean Street, Hyannis, for a new annual daily live entertainment license and amending the daily non-live entertainment license. Applicant requests up to 3 live amplified performers on the outside covered patio until 10 p.m. They propose to increase the daily non-live entertainment license by adding 2 TVs on the second floor inside and 2 TVs on the first floor inside, 1 TV on the first floor covered patio outside, and non-live entertainment will be commensurate with alcohol service hours. And I assume you're here to represent The Break.
Yes.
You can introduce who you are, your position, and tell us what's going on here.
Sure. My name is Adrian Prishwak. I'm one of the co-owners of The Break. So we're looking to primarily add the TV outside and a few TVs inside. We found there's some gaps in our entertainment, which we already have several TVs inside. The outdoor one would be primarily for, we're thinking football games shown on the patio. It's a covered patio on the ground floor, and that would be. We're actually not thinking of using the volume from that TV. It would just be on. We already have speakers under the patio, so ceiling speakers playing conversation level music. That will continue. Maybe in the future, if it's like a very popular game and people want to hear it, that would be something, we would consider, but that's not the plan right now. And then the outdoor live portion is something that is already too late in this season, but we're looking to do that for next summer. I don't know who's familiar with it, but we just finished the outdoor patio extension about a month ago. And it was a little late to get the, that in the flow of the restaurant because of the lateness of the season and labor and issues like that. So we're looking to hit the ground running for next season and basically bring up the issue that it'd be nice to have, some number of performers outside, either amplified, probably has to be amplified because it's outside, but we're open to any, comments and suggestions and whatever the rules are.
Okay. Are there any questions from any members of the board? Yes, Jessica.
I actually have a question for the staff. Have there been any complaints from members of the public?
So I haven't received complaints thus far on entertainment, but there were 2 letters included in the materials from abutters who were opposed to this proposal.
Okay, this is a I'm sorry, Nancy.
Could you refresh me as to how many patrons your outside patio holds?
It's 24 seats,
Okay,
and it's all lounge seats, couches.
so, yep, thank you.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Is there anyone from the public that wants to speak to this issue?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Joe Hoffman, and my wife, Felicia Penn, and I live at 15 Daisy Bluff Lane in Hyannis, a short distance down Channel Point Road from the break. Felicia was born in 1953 at Cape Cod Hospital and moved into the Penn's new house that same year. So she's been there her entire life. A little bit unusual these days. We both strongly object to this board approving any request for a new entertainment license for daily outdoor amplified music at the Break Restaurant until 10 p.m. at night. Let me remind everybody here what the town bylaw says. No entertainment at the licensed premises may be conducted in a manner such that the noise from the entertainment can be heard outside the boundaries of the premises. We ask that you deny this request for the following reasons. There is no way to contain the sound on this property since the outdoor covered patio or deck, either the one on the ground level or the outdoor deck above, are both entirely open with no walls or doors, and at best are 8 feet from the street, Ocean Street. And B, the Break is the last structure in the commercial district and borders 2 residential neighborhoods, one beside it on Ocean Street and Nantucket Street, and one across the street on Channel Point Road and other streets. If the purpose of live music is to entertain the patrons of the restaurant, then the music should be located inside where the patrons are, either upstairs in the official dining room where it is now, or downstairs in the bar. Situating the music outside on the patio where maybe 20 persons, you just said 24, may be seated, indicates they want the music to attract customers, which is a marketing function, not an entertainment customers that they already have. How about a big sign, live music inside? The Break is a welcome addition to Ocean Street. The food is very good, and the staff is accommodating. Late last year, when the kitchen opened and they were still remodeling, we supported them as well as during the off-season. We have recommended them to many of our friends, but their location does not support up to 3 pieces of amplified outside entertainment daily until 10 p.m. I would also like to represent Phil Doherty, my neighbor, who was intending to be here to speak against this application. He had bypass surgery last week and is recovering at home, but I just thought I would notify you that he was one of the people that was supposed to make a presentation. I want to thank this board for all of the years of support in helping the neighborhood maintain some semblance of a nice neighborhood to live in. Going back to the days of Marty Hoxie and Harold Toby, and of course John Flores has been on the committee for a while too. They've recently always been a big help. If I have a little time, I would like to tell you a story. You got
Go ahead.
couple of minutes?
Please.
Years ago, maybe 10, Doug Cohen, who is one of the Cohen brothers of Newport Hospitality that own the hotel. Doug was at our kitchen table. He had the idea and had run into bylaws like this in other places around Rhode Island and Massachusetts, not on the Cape. And he figured he knew how to control music going to the outside. So he was at our kitchen table, and he told the hotel to turn up the music at the old 231 room or 235 room. And they did, and he immediately said, "It's too loud, I can hear it sitting right here at the table." So he went down to in front of Phil Doherty's house just to get to Channel Point Road, and listened there. It's still too loud. He moved over toward where, to Ocean Street, where the restaurant was right across the street from him. And he listened, it's still too loud. So he adjusted that and said to Felicia, we will keep our music at that level by whatever entertainment we have in here. And so you just won't be able to hear it. A few years after that, he invited Bobby Weeks, God rest his soul, who just died a few months ago or maybe late last year. He had the Raw Bar. And when the Raw Bar was moved from where Highline's ticket office is in their food service building, he moved over to the hotel. And Doug notified him that he had to play by the same rules relative to the music and keep it at this level. For the most part, Weeks did that, but he sent us a letter, personally addressed to Felicia and I, and said, if you ever find that the music is too loud, please call me and I will take care of it. Don't call Newport Hospitality, because he didn't want his lease to be in jeopardy, obviously. So that has been maintained clear right through to this day. And a couple of times we had to call Bobby Weeks, and Bobby immediately shut it down and took care of it that way. So it's been a pretty good situation over all these years. And we would like to kind of keep it at the same basis.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Joe. Any comments for Joe? Any questions?
Chair?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is appropriate time to speak to this. Should I wait for the other?
No, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. I happen to live in close proximity to this property as well, about the same distance as Mr. Hoffman and Ms. Penn. I think there's already precedent set here with outside entertainment around the harbor, including Ocean Street. So I just really hope that maybe there's some sort of compromise that might be able to be made with this so that this applicant is not biased against relative to his competition. And don't know the answer to that, but maybe it's non-amplified, maybe it's single person, you know, maybe more
That's
forethought
why we're
going
here,
into
right?
alternative options to allow you some live entertainment and no outdoors in the summer. It's important, people want to be outdoors, but maybe there's some happy medium that could be reached on that.
Yes, so the Cohens are actually our landlords, and so this actually came about because of a discussion with them as we were planning that patio extension. And so the idea just came up, what if you could have some music out here? So that is part of it. The other part is we saw that the now Blue Water Grill, which I think used to be the Raw Bar, is basically outdoor entertainment. It's a tent, and they have live music in there all the time. And so I was thinking amplified is better because you can control it. You can point the amplifier up the street north, or actually east, I guess, away from the neighborhood is the point. So I don't know if I'm a musician too, so I basically know you can't really hear much behind an amplifier. It's very distinct, the difference. So I thought that was actually a better use. But again, we're open to anything. We want to be good neighbors. We hopefully have showed that in the last year. I'm happy to give you my number also. If there is a compromise, we're happy to consider anything, whether it's just afternoons to start, see how that goes. And again, this is literally just for the summer, most likely just weekends, maybe a Friday. It's not something, unless there's a private event who hires out that patio and wants live music, the same live music that we're, hopefully going to be licensed for. Otherwise, it's just one performer, maybe two. Again, I was thinking the amplifier facing away from the street and up the street would be a good sort of way to keep the sound from going down to the neighborhood.
Other comments from anyone on the board?
it seems to me that if you started out with unamplified and see how it went, if that would satisfy. And Mr. Flores, several months ago, suggested a decibel meter for another venue, and perhaps you could work with that.
Yes, happy to.
Yeah, just a comment and observation. I know this building really well
Yeah.
because it used to be the old Hyannis
Yeah.
English Club headquarters and the restaurant. Spent many a weekend and evenings there. And there was always only inside entertainment.
Which is
in
all
that-
we've done so far.
Which is
yeah.
all you've done so far. So I respect the fact that you want to add live entertainment outside, but I also want to respect the needs of the surrounding community. That's a pretty busy corner to begin with people coming on
Oh,
the
and-
boat, off the boat.
Can I make one quick,
Sure.
just clarification? The patio that we're talking about is the next door patio, 233, technically.
Right.
You know, it's now under our lease, that all got transferred over. So now we have those extra 24 seats that are all outdoor lounge seats.
So you're talking the patio in front of the hotel?
Yeah, it's the patio in front of the hotel. So it's
Where there's a gas?
a good, all those gas fireplaces
There's a
out
gas,
there.
okay, I knew it.
So it's a good 80 feet from the corner, if not more. And again, we'd further make sure to direct the music up. But again, we're willing to work on any kind of compromise that would be sufficient.
Okay, any comments from staff members?
Sure. As it turns out, we have a discussion coming about later at this meeting. But I do think it's important that I point out the existing live entertainment on that street right now. We have Baxter's Boathouse has an 8 p.m. live entertainment license, up to 2 performers. Blue Water Grill has an outdoor live entertainment license for 10 p.m. up to 3 performers. Black Cat Harbor Shack has a live entertainment license till 12 a.m., 2 performers, amplified. Trader Ed's has a 12:45 a.m. licensed live entertainment outside. And we don't have a number on the number of performers, but they have amplified bands. So I think it's just important. I actually read you all of the establishments in that area. I just think it needs to be considered in terms of remaining consistent and what is permitted with the neighboring establishments.
Detective Kelsey?
Going back approximately 2 years ago, it might have even been a little bit longer, we did do this exercise where I did a lot of research on the noise complaints from the Ocean Street area. I don't have that information in front of me today because I wasn't aware that this was going to come up and be needed. But that being said, from memory, there was less than, I think, 6 complaints in that area for noise complaints. Some from the Raw Bar, which is now Blue Water. I think there might have been 1 from the Shack out back. And then there might have been 1 like from Trader Ed's across the water, that type of thing. It wasn't super significant, but there were some. This is going back long enough ago where Bobby Weeks actually was still managing the Raw Bar, so it might have even been a little bit longer. And the conversation I had with him was he said he was going to stop doing entertainment because he had gotten a couple of complaints. He's like, it just wasn't worth it. And he didn't have that many. It's just a couple, but that's why he stopped back then. But if we need it, I could definitely pull up the numbers for complaints in that area and make them more recent. But in the last couple of years, I haven't had anybody coming to me like, hey, this is a problem. The other thing, I know that the decibel thing has come up several times. The one thing I would remind is that we don't have anything in our ordinances or bylaws that talk about decibel numbers. So we would have to have something either entered into the licensing restrictions, a bylaw or ordinance or something like that, if we were going to be able to address something like that. And I also do have some information for later on in our conversation tonight about that, or today, I should say, excuse me.
I guess.
Director Anthony?
I do want to bring to the attention of licensing authority that there's been ongoing effort to address certain quality of life issues by a subcommittee of staff. This stems from some complaints that came in, just general complaints about noise in commercial vehicles and parkouts and things like that. We've seen this appear recently before Town Council. This group is bringing forward some changes to those bylaws, and one of them that we are considering is the noise bylaw. And we have been looking very carefully at how other communities handle noise and enforcement and where you do those regulations. So one of the components that's within there is trying to make sure that we marry how the licensing authority enforces its licenses, at the same time being in compliance with the bylaws. Sometimes that's parallel, sometimes that's the same. But that is an ongoing effort as we go, and it may very well result in our coming back in the near future, 6 months from now, within the next 6 months, to discuss what the findings of that quality of life are going to be. It's very comprehensive. It involves a lot of different things about how to register complaints, how to address those complaints, how to allow complainants to track and see how the town is reacting to them. So there is this movement underfoot to kind of improve local government at the bequest of lots of people who have been frustrated because they make complaints and they don't always get results back and they can't track them. So there's a lot going on, and I just want to mention to the licensing authority there's a bigger effort that's going on across the board. Thank you.
Okay. Other questions, other comments? Mike?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Yeah, these are always difficult things to be presented because we're trying to make a decision on an unknown, really. The noise level of free entertainers, we don't know. Could it be a violation of the anti-noise bylaw or rules and regulations, or could it not be? It'd be one thing, in my opinion, if this was a section of Hyannis that had no amplified music, no outside entertainment, no noise, and you wanted to introduce something that's a known factor into a residential neighborhood. In this particular case, there are other establishments that have licenses similar to this that do generate noise but seem to be complying, or there seems to be a mechanism for the neighborhood to reach out to the manager or the contact and regulate the problem. There is a complaint process in place. If this license were to be issued and it was in violation or there were some complaints, then we can certainly bring before the board and make some adjustments to that. I think just to make a decision on the unknown before it even starts is difficult.
Appreciate the comments. It's been discussed that other establishments along Ocean Street, they do have entertainment. Most of those are in self-contained entities. I mean, someone mentioned the shack out back. That really sits way in the back, and it's sort of, the sound is muffled because it's between two buildings. The same with the old Raw Bar location. That's really inside. My concern here is that patio you're talking about, there's no roof on it, correct?
Correct.
So it's just a wide open space.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, you know, the fact that sound can carry that much quicker and that much easier is a concern. And I want to be sure that we protect, if you will, the sanctity of a neighborhood in terms of how people live there. I'm not going to, personally, I'm not going to support this. Also because, based on the fact that you said it's only going to be for the summer, and the summer's over. So in terms of even allowing us time to do more research based on the new ad hoc committee that exists to come back to us prior to the spring with the rules and recommendations, I would ask probably to put the live entertainment section of this motion on hold and approve the additional TVs on the inside so that there's a compromise, and let us wait to hear back from what the appointed ad hoc committee is coming back with recommendations.
Sure. Just to be clear, though, we did ask for one TV to be shown outside on the patio, on our patio, 235.
Right.
But again, not sound. And even if that TV has sound, it'd be using the same speakers that currently use music. So it's not a new sort of amplified system that we're adding. We just basically want to show football games or sports outside.
Just wanted to be clear here that the TV is considered non-live entertainment.
Oh, correct.
The TV is considered non-live
Yeah, correct.
entertainment.
No, I
So
understand
if
that.
you're
I just,
pausing on the
But
live,
it's also going to bring groups to that patio. I mean, you talk about a football game, people are passionate, so I'm just concerned we don't have, 200 people down there cheering the Patriots and people who live next door have an issue. I want to be considerate of them.
yeah, we're still
so-
going to show it on all TVs, but yeah.
No, I understand. So I guess what I'm really saying is that I have no qualms about approving anything on the inside. Anything that you're asking to have approved on the outside, I want to put on hold until we hear back from this townwide committee. I want to be fair to the neighbors in that neighborhood.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Just before you guys take any action, I just would like to read into the record, and I'm not going to read the whole bylaw, but the Town of Barnstable anti-noise bylaw prohibits unnecessary loud and excessive noise, defining a violation as any noise plainly audible 150 feet away from its source. So it's not necessarily outside of the footprint, it's away from the source. A noise is considered a violation if it can be plainly heard at a distance of 150 feet away from the origin. Being able to hear the noise at 150 feet mark is considerable prima facie evidence that a violation has occurred. It's illegal to create or allow any unnecessary loud or excessive noise from sound-making devices, amplifying devices, music, or loud singing. So I just wanted to make sure that you had that information as you consider what you're going to do on this issue.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Just a quick comment, Mr.
Yes.
Chairman. I would concur with your assessment as far as waiting to see what that ad hoc committee decides. We may entertain approving his license today or denying it, and that all may be for naught, because the ad hoc committee may come back with something totally different. Unless he's planning to have 3 live entertainers Thanksgiving Day weekend or New Year's Eve. And I wish there'd be 200 Patriots fans out in front of your place, because that would mean they were doing well, but I'm kind of confident we might be struggling a little bit there. But I do concur, Mr. Chairman, this is an important decision, both to represent the folks that are here in opposition of it and the business, till we get some solid information to make an informed decision.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. And please note, I'm a pro-business person, but at the same time, I know that where I live, I would not want to be annoyed or bothered by a decibel level above 60 decibels because there's music playing, or even a TV, or people cheering or screaming. So as a result, I'm going to make a motion to approve the daily live and amend the daily non-live entertainment license for the break, but only for the internal section of your location. This will not apply to anything externally until, in fact, we hear back from an ad hoc committee, in the fact that you mentioned that it's summertime issue only.
Yeah.
I think we'll,
This
we
is
want to be good
educational,
neighbors, and we
yeah.
want to be a good licensing board, but we do have an obligation to the neighborhood to be sure that, we keep some semblance of peace and quiet for the folks who live there. So basically what I'm saying is that, anything on the outside, we're not going to approve today, but anything on the inside, we'll give the okay to.
Okay.
And
I
that's in the form of
second.
a motion.
I second.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, I'll call the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that is a vote.
I
Good
would-
luck on the inside.
I just want to
Okay.
clarify that you're not approving the non-live for the television outside.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we only approved anything internally. There is nothing additionally that will be going on outside until we hear from this new townwide committee making recommendations. And then at that point in time, we'll revisit it and go from there. Okay, item number 3, this is a new daily live and amend the daily non-live entertainment for an application that was filed by DJ's Wings and Things, Incorporated, doing business as DJ Wings, Ribs, Subs, and More, located at 165 Yarmouth Road, Hyannis, to add a new live entertainment to include trivia and amend the daily non-live entertainment to include 19 TVs and recorded music below conversation level. Hours of entertainment are daily from 10 a.m. to 12:30 a.m. Is there anyone here from DJ's Wings? If you'd come up and tell us who you are and your role, and give us a little more explanation on this.
Yes, thank you for having me. Good morning. My name is John Carlin. My parents are the original founders and owners of DJ's. I'm the manager on the liquor license. Honestly, we're just looking to add trivia on Thursday nights. We don't want to do anything too crazy, and it wouldn't be super loud or anything. It would be indoors only. I think it's a 2-hour event is what we had in mind. Basically, they come in. I think they set up just a small little stand, and then they, have some questions, music bingo, things like that. They give away some prizes, I believe. It would be Lemon Adio, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, with Stephanie Viva. That's who we had in mind for doing it, and we were just hoping to get everyone's approval if possible.
Okay, is there anyone from the public who would like to speak to this? This is a public hearing. Anyone from the authority? Any questions, issues, concerns? I just have one question. It says to include 19 TVs. How many are there now?
I believe just the 19.
So it's just,
Yeah,
nothing's
we
changed.
haven't added any TVs. I think.
So this
they
is
were-
strictly a trivia night inside?
Yes, trivia
Okay.
night inside, no new TVs, no new.
Okay. Staff comments? Director Logan or Detective Kelsey?
No comments.
Okay, I'm not hearing any. I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the daily live and amendment of the daily non-live entertainment license for DJ Wings and Things, Inc., DBA DJ's Wings, Ribs, Subs, and More, as submitted.
Second, please.
Second?
Okay, motion's been made and in a second. Any final discussion or consideration? Not hearing any. We'll call the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? That is a vote. Good luck on trivia night.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, item number 4, this is a new annual all-alcohol common victualler license with some new daily live and non-live entertainment. It's an application that's been made by Triton Beverage Group, doing business as Cape Cod Beer, located at 1336 Finney's Lane in Barnstable for an annual all-alcohol common victualler license. Microbrewery comprised of a 5,000 square foot building with an assembly tap room with seats for 206 or 96 seats with tables and chairs or 288 standees only. It includes production, retail offices, 2 bathrooms, 1 ADA, and 3 egresses, 1 at the rear of the assembly tap room, 2 at the front of the retail location, and also there is a 2,300 square foot storage area with access from patio to 2 adjacent spaced ADA compliant bathrooms, a 4,000 square foot building with production, a 6,700 square foot patio with seats for 250, and a planter barrier surround. Proposed alcohol manager is Michael McNamara. The hours of operation will be Monday to Saturday, 8 a.m. to 12:45 a.m., and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 12:45 a.m. The applicant also proposes a daily live entertainment to include up to 7 live amplified performers, comedy shows, live theater, and karaoke, and daily non-live entertainment to include 1 cinema screen, to include music videos, 1 video game, recorded music above conversation level, and 5 TVs. Proposed hours of live and non-live entertainment are daily from 10 a.m. to 12:45 a.m. Now, that's a lot. So is there someone here from Cape Cod Beer that can speak to this myriad amount of new suggestions and ideas? And we're ready.
Thank you, John. I think you covered everything. But thank you very much, Mike McNamara. I'm the owner and president of the Triton Beverage Group. I also own the Hog Island Beer Company in Orleans. I want to thank you for your time and consideration today. Our team, our plan is to carry on the success that the Marcus family's had with Cape Cod Beer over the last 20 years, and just continue to be able to have offerings, be able to utilize the space as a local hub for the community, for events and things of that nature, and just really have it be a family-friendly, multi-generational, fun experience for people and the patrons that come in to visit us.
Okay, before I open it up to the members of the authority, is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak to this? Yes, sir, Lieutenant.
Thank you. Kevin Brayley, Deputy Fire Chief, Barnstable Fire Department. We would just like to keep an open conversation with the new owners. This has been over the past 2 decades, Cape Cod beer has slowly expanded from a window where you'd get a jug of beer to what it's now. We would strongly suggest that the new owners, with another expansion of the operations, to consider sprinkling the building under Chapter 148, Section 26G&1/2, which is the nightclub bar rule for automatic sprinklers in buildings of these types. So we'd just like to keep an open conversation with the new owners and make our suggestion known to the board.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy. Okay. Questions from members of the authority?
Just,
Mr. Murphy.
just seeing if Mr. McNamara has a comment on what the fire department comments were.
Yes, I mean, we would definitely want to continue to be, good stewards and continue those open conversations so that we can, do the right thing and make sure that, provide a safe, and enjoyable space for sure.
So you're open to installing a sprinkler system, is what you're saying?
I think it would be great to be able to continue those conversations for sure.
I'm sorry?
Yes, it would be great to continue those conversations in conjunction with the landlord and everything else.
Okay. Jessica?
Could you tell us about your experience in the industry?
Sure. Yeah. I've spent my entire career in the alcohol beverage sector. I started after college working for the Gallo Winery. Worked for them for 5 years. I worked for Diageo, which is the largest premium adult beverage company in the world, for 7 years. I worked for Pernod Ricard, which is the second largest premium adult beverage business, for 5 years. And prior to moving to the Cape full time, which I've lived here now for 12 years, I was with Southern Wine and Spirits, which is a distributor, largest distributor in the country. We did business in 35 states, now 37 states. So I've got a lot of experience within this sector, and really celebrate making sure that we have a safe and enjoyable space for all.
Thank you.
Any other questions, issues?
Mr. McNamara, when you say you're considering adding sprinklers or considering continuing the conversation, does that mean that you're actively considering adding sprinklers or just a conversation?
Yeah, I definitely would be, want to continue the conversation. I think, it's a great idea. Obviously, there's a significant investment that's, being made right now with the acquisition of the business. So I think I'd be completely open to it. I'd want to continue to have, ongoing dialogue with the fire department and the police department for any issues. And then, having a conversation, with the landlord as well. So it's definitely something that's important, and I think we'd want to make sure that we, fully considered the options that we had.
Okay.
I guess the short answer to that would be that the cost is significant, and you have a landlord, and you have some public safety concerns, or want to have public safety concerns. You want to have a discussion with the landlord, the fire department, and yourself about the best way to make that building safe for everybody. Is that basically
That's correct? Yes.
Deputy, comment?
Our intention today isn't to hold up his licensing. It's just to keep further discussion. This has already gone before the previous owners had gone before the board of building code regarding this building. It's just the further expansion. We just want to keep an open dialogue based on any expansion to the business, his plans for entertainment and things of that such. But our intention today wasn't to hold up his licensing.
Thank you, Deputy.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, no, it's a serious issue. Not only are we here to talk about all of the ramifications of awarding or approving any license with all kinds of factors involved, but also public safety. And anytime there's a public safety issue, we will at least get it into the discussion for further resolution, which is what I'm hearing about today.
For sure.
So with that being said, members of the staff, Director Logan, Detective Kelsey, Director Anthony.
One is a statement, one is to further clarify. the sprinkler situation. The statement is there's been some conversation amongst people on my staff as well as from the community concerning the 1245 live entertainment outside. So that sort of going on to the conversations that we've had the last couple of meetings, just consider whether a live entertainment outside in this location till 1:15 in the morning is something that you want to grant, or maybe you find a happy medium there. The other thing is I would like to offer a little clarification, and I think Deputy Braley just hit on that. Cape Cod Beer was issued a warning concerning occupancy as in regard to not having sprinklers in this situation. That did go through the proper process through the building department and then to the state appeals board for regulating that type of thing. The state had determined that that property is not considered a nightclub, and that's why they did not have to put in a sprinkler system. In full disclosure, when Mr. McNamara came in front of Aaron and myself to basically explain what he wanted to do with the property, I did explain that to him and said, right now, this is what the state has said, but it wouldn't surprise me if down the road that conversation comes up again because of life safety issues. I don't know exactly what the expansion that Mr. McNamara has in mind for the property is, or if he's going to keep it status quo. But Cape Cod Beer did go through the proper process, and they were granted the ability to operate that the way they are as is right now. So I just wanted to make sure that that was out there.
Other comments from members of the board?
Yeah, I think thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think the deputy was very clear that he wants to have an open conversation between the landlord, the new owners, and the fire department, and explore all avenues moving forward. That this is not a decision that needs to be made today. It's not a decision that needs to be made tomorrow, but it is a concern to the fire department, and they want to have ongoing negotiations or talks with the landlord of the building if there's going to be any major expansion, that these factors be taken into account and may be rectified. I don't mean to speak for the deputy, but I believe that's what we were trying to say. As far as the noise volume at 12:45, I say this tongue-in-cheek, but I know the police department doesn't sleep, so I don't know if they're going to wake you guys up, but it doesn't seem to be a very residential neighborhood there. I think the mechanisms are in place to file complaints, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Other comments? Okay, with that being said, I will entertain a motion.
I move to approve the new annual all-alcohol common victular license and new daily live and non-live entertainment license as submitted.
And I would just amend that by adding subject to further sprinkler system discussions with the fire department.
And subject to further sprinkler discussions with the fire department.
Is there a second, please?
Second.
Okay, any final discussion on this?
Hold on.
I don't think you can impose upon them a requirement to continue discussions.
Why
I
can't
just
we?
don't think I'm going to let you go for it. I just don't think you can legally do that.
Well-
Where both parties have agreed to have continuing discussions. I
And
guess
I'm
you
ju-
can put that
And I'm just
condition.
memorializing it in the motion. I think it's
Can-
a critical issue for public safety
That's-
that needs to be included.
Or can I just recommend that at least you put some type of a date where we come back and revisit this to make sure that that conversation has taken place then, so we don't leave it open-ended?
Okay?
How about the renewal of their license, Mr. Chairman?
That would be how long?
I think that's a lovely suggestion, but we're, by
That's
the
a year,
time,
is it?
no, by the time they get approved for the license, we'll be in the thick of renewal season. So maybe we look at, let's give them a few months of operating, want to say 3 months after receipt of their license, that they would,
90 days?
because the state might not approve the license for another
Right.
month, and they wouldn't get it, so they wouldn't be operating enough time by November. Does that make sense?
Sure.
They would have only had a month of
So I
operation.
would move that we amend this motion as already written and already suggested by me, subject to a sprinkler system discussion within 90 days of having received your approved license.
Okay.
Is there a second to that?
I second.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that is a vote. Thank you.
All right.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Okay, next is to amend an annual all-alcohol common victualler. It's an application that was filed by Ryan Family Amusement, LLC, doing business as 10 Pin Eatery, located at 793 INO Road in Hyannis, for a change of officers, directors, and LLC managers, and a change of ownership interest as per the application submitted. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'm Paul Tardif. I'm an attorney, and I represent Ryan Family Amusements, LLC. With me today is Zach McCall, who's the Director of Operations, and also Billy Campbell, the President of Ryan Family Amusements, LLC. Just as some background, Ryan Family does own the annual all-alcohol liquor license over at 769 Iano Road in Hyannis. That's the Cape Cod Mall, and they run 10 Pin Eatery there. And I'm working with Mike Rossi, who filed this application, a significant application. Sorry for all the paper. You may remember that I was before you on June 25th of this year to request an approval of a change of corporate name and structure, and it was just to go from Ryan Family Amusements, Inc. to the LLC, and then to change, obviously, from president, treasurer, secretary to managers and membership ownership. We're now back for a request approval of the change of officers, directors, and the LLC managers, and a change of ownership interest. Ryan Family is going to be selling their property. They are currently in contract to do that for all their locations throughout not only Cape Cod, but southeast Massachusetts. So we have a lot of these hearings going on. First of all, you should know that Ryan Family Amusements, LLC will continue to own the license, that the current liquor license on that specific license will be Stephen Kraft. That will remain the same. But because of the anticipated sale and the form that they have requested, we do have to request that from this board. So I can tell you also that it's a more complicated transfer than typical because of the number of locations, that we brought this to the ABCC directly in Boston first. They have not finally approved it. We're still working on some of the 630 pages of application materials and financials to demonstrate how this is going to work. However, we did have some back and forth with them, which is what caused us a couple months between June 25th and now. But they have seen this. Met with the investigator, has not gone to the full approval yet. But we thought that we would run some ground ahead of time because this is going to be significant. So we're just hoping for an approval from this board for the transfer. I think that of anything in your application, this flow chart really demonstrates what's happening with Ryan Family Amusements, LLC. Again, not going to see any change at the location, just be for ownership and membership and management. So we hope that you'll approve this today. Thank you.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Are there any issues from anyone in the public? Not seeing any. I have one question relative to the change of officers, directors, and LLC managers. Have the people been identified who those folks are?
They are.
Are we aware of that?
Yep, that was included in the application.
So we know who they are and
correct.
Background?
Yep, we do.
Okay, that's the only question I have. Other questions from members of the authority?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, not hearing any. I will entertain a motion.
I move to approve the change of officers, directors, LLC managers for Ryan Family Amusements, LLC, DBA 10 Pin Eatery, as submitted.
Second, please.
Second.
Any further final discussion? Not hearing, seeing any. I'll entertain this motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, unanimous. Good
Thank you
luck.
very much.
Okay. Okay, next on our agenda, new applications. Number one is to amend an annual Chapter 12 all alcohol common victualler license. It's a change of manager filed by GMRI, Inc., doing business as the Olive Garden Restaurant, number 1523, located at 1095 INO Road, Hyannis, to amend the licensed alcohol manager from David Marshall to Megan Betancourt. You must be Megan Betancourt.
Yes, I am.
Could you
Good
tell
morning.
us who you are and what you're about and your experience in this?
So I'm newly promoted general manager of the Hyannis location. Newly promoted
You
GM
can lower that mic.
of the Hyannis location. I've been with Olive Garden for almost 10 years now in a management role for the last 4.5. I've worked, can't tell you how many Olive Garden locations, I think 6 at the moment, all around the southeastern Massachusetts, Rhode Island region. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I have 2 degrees, went to school for 5.5 years at UMass Dartmouth, a lot of restaurant experience. That's all I got.
Okay, great. Thank you, Megan. Comments from members of the board? Anyone have a comment, issue, concern? How about members from the staff? Director Logan or Detective
I have no
Kelsey or-
concerns.
Okay. Everyone, I guess, is on board with this, so we'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the change of manager application for GMRI Inc., DBA The Olive Garden Restaurant, number 1523, as submitted.
Second?
Second.
Okay, final chance to comment? Not hearing any? We'll call this motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that is a vote. Good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Okay, item number 2 under new applications is to amend the annual Chapter 15 wine and malt license. It's a change of manager, and it's an application that's been filed by LLH LLC, doing business as Trader Joe's, located at 655 I&O Road in Hyannis, to amend the licensed alcohol manager from David Haley to Megan Ackerman. And you must be Megan Ackerman.
I am, yes.
Okay, if you could tell us who you are and what's going on here.
Yeah, I've worked at Trader Joe's for 5 years in our Utah location, which sold just beer, and then also in Rhode Island, in which we sold no alcohol, and then here in Massachusetts. I've been a manager. I'm a newly appointed captain at Trader Joe's, but I've been a manager at Trader Joe's for 3.5 of the 5 years I've worked there, and I'm excited to be in Hyannis. Yeah.
Okay, any comments or questions from members of the board? I just have one quick one. Is Trader Joe's expanding into Christmas tree?
Into Christmas tree? No, actually. We took over Window World next door for a little more backroom space, but the new business expanding there is not. It's not us.
Okay. Members of the staff?
Oh, that will be Best Buy
Best
taking
Buy,
over
yeah.
that
Dawned on
space.
me, yeah.
I have no concerns with this application.
Okay. Detective Kelsey, any questions or issues on this?
No question.
Okay, then we will entertain a motion.
I move to approve the change of manager application for LLH LLC, DBA Trader Joe's, as submitted. Good luck.
Second, please.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that is a vote.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Congratulations, good luck.
Okay. Next on our agenda is discussions. This pertains to the Blue Moon located at 430 Main Street, Hyannis. It's a discussion regarding recent police activity at or around the establishment, as well as observed violations. We have received some communication from Detective Kelsey and from Director Logan on this. We discussed it at our last meeting, and I can have Attorney Lala tell us why he's here and what he wants to say before Detective Kelsey comments, or would you rather Detective Kelsey go first?
I'm perfectly happy to go first, and that way Attorney Lawler could respond if he needs to.
That was my intent. Thank you.
Okay, so we had talked about the Blue Moon situation for a couple of meetings now, and unfortunately I wasn't here last meeting. To go backwards, I had reported to Director Logan through our internal computer system, which logs compliance checks, which I do. I did compliance checks on July 11th, 2025, and on July 20th of 2025. And I will read into the record what the report that I made to Director Logan was. On July 11, 2025, just before midnight, I spoke with two of the managers of the Blue Moon who are standing at the front door on the sidewalk near the Blue Moon patio. During the conversation, we discussed complaints of excessive noise, complaints of groups congregating near their patio and smoking marijuana, as well as overcrowding. The managers agreed to close the front door, which brought the noise level down to an acceptable level. We checked the alcohol license and we discussed how they are restricted to 54 people, 30 people inside, 24 people outside. They also stated that they would advise patrons that they cannot smoke marijuana on the sidewalk if they notice this occurring. That was July 11th. On July 20th, I visited the Blue Moon at approximately 12:45 a.m. There was a large crowd inside the restaurant, and there was a group of people, approximately 15, congregating on the sidewalk to the left of the restaurant. At approximately 12:52 a.m., I observed the staff starting to ask people to leave the establishment for the night. At this time, I stood with staff and counted guests as they exited the establishment. I used a clicker at this point. I counted 82 patrons leaving the establishment at this time. There were a number of patrons who left prior to the start of this count and did not get counted by staff. This did not count the staff and entertainment that were on site. I would be comfortable stating that there was between 100 and 125 people present if I were to include those who had left prior to the count and staff and entertainment. Staff did state that they were frustrated because the DJ was letting people in the back door and that they had to assign staff to monitor the door to maintain control of capacity. At one point, I did observe two patrons climb over the patio fence to enter the Blue Moon patio area. These patrons came from the group which was just outside of the fence, where some in the group were smoking marijuana. I dispersed this group. I provided information on the fight and stabbing which occurred near the Blue Moon and reported that to you, meaning Director Logan, on August 16th under separate cover. In conversations to Director Logan and to Attorney Lawler, I did explain that while there was a fight directly in front of the Blue Moon and while there was a stabbing just down the sidewalk from the Blue Moon, and that it was discovered that the people involved were patrons of the Blue Moon, there is no way that we could sit there and say that these people, there's no way that we could sit there and say that the staff was responsible for that fight as it was outside of their footprint, nor would they have the authority to do anything about the fight outside of their footprint or the people smoking marijuana. I bring this up to you because it's a behavior that's being observed. It's a behavior that has been brought to my attention by patrol. But today, for you to consider, I would bring to you the anti-noise bylaw violations and the capacity violations, which not only did I receive complaints about, but I have personal observations of.
Thank you, Detective Kelsey. Attorney Lawler.
How you doing? First of all, Mike, welcome. I'm seeing you here. Well, first of all, and I appreciate this process. I know we're not here on a violation. There's no charges. There's nothing. I just want to make that clear. And, you know, we've had conversations with Officer Kelsey, Detective Kelsey, and I know I've talked to Mr. Murphy about this in the past, about the process of coming here. And, you know, it's a good process to say, hey, you know, we're having a couple of issues here. Why don't we get up and have an open conversation in public so we can address it and, you know, and try to deal with things as they go forward. And I applaud the process, I really do, and my clients do. And by the way, this is can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Panayotis. I go by Pan. I work at Blue Moon as manager.
And we also have John Adams, Dave Adams and John Himberg, who are the work on the crew there and have been very responsive. And I've had, since this happened, I've had multiple conversations with Detective Kelsey trying to figure out, you know what some of the issues are. But it's also, I went down to the property 2 days ago, and walked the area, and it's an interesting area. There's a lot of action going on right there, from where that is. And there's other establishments that are open till 1 o'clock in the evening, and a lot of times, some of them even close earlier. So some of the crowds outside are people that are leaving other establishments. I'm not going to say names, and nothing wrong with that. People have to leave. You know, it's like that song. You know, you have to. You know, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. You know, so the issue, and what happens is a lot of times, though, people will then try to come in to the Blue Moon, and that's late, and they tell them no, and people congregate. So it's kind of a flow issue that is not really the, you know, it would be it's very difficult for the Blue Moon to handle it because it's not a lot of their own patrons that are coming in and out. Now, with respect to the marijuana, you go anywhere nowadays, you can smell that sweet odor around a corner or this or that. It's very distinctive.
Sweet?
It smells like sweet. I don't know. I don't smoke pot, so I don't know. Whatever. It's pungent or whatever, but you smell it. Shows you, Mike. I'm aging myself for a long time ago. And the issues here are, you know, how do you control if someone vacates, you know, when walks down an alleyway and gets high, or someone else, you know, is getting high in an alleyway and then walks in? It's impossible. And we understand that, you know, smoking pot outdoors is not legal. It's legal in your home, it's legal in someone else's home, but it's not legal outdoors. But that's an area, as Officer Kelsey indicated, with respect to the other incident, that, you know, is outside of our jurisdiction. Not only can we not control it, we have no right to control it. We're not, you know, our people are not deputized as police officers or things of that nature. Now, with respect to the, you know, the overcrowding issue, you know, this is, you know, there obviously appeared to be a problem on, you know, on probably one of the hottest weekends in July. It's still not an excuse. I'm just saying, you know, what's going on here. And I've had conversations with my clients about controlling that. You know, my clients, you know, are trying to, you know, come into a position of, you know, trying to be responsible. They've also, I just found out, have invested a lot of money with this incident, you know, that they're actually, you know, they're not going to use it during the day or anything like that, but they did purchase a metal detector, the only one in town. And, you know, because there are issues. It's a sad statement on society, but, you know, with, if they're concerned about individuals, they can have individuals go through a metal detector to make sure people are safe. This obviously is something that has brought them, you know, great concern, you know, because there was an incident outside down the way, and apparently the people involved in that incident had been in the, you know, in the establishment. Now, you know, there's no possible way that my clients could have known or not known of what happened. It's just impossible. I mean, we see this so sadly in the news all the time of, you know, people with, whether it's a knife or a gun or something, that just walk in somewhere and there's nothing you can do. It's a terrible thing, and it's something that our society in general has to deal with. Now, with respect to this particular outfit, they're actually taking steps that I don't believe any other restaurant or establishment on the Cape, or certainly in Hyannis, has taken. There might be one, I don't, but certainly that I know of, and I represent a lot of them. So, I mean, the issue really here is that you know, from what I'm listening to Officer Kelsey, there seems to be, there was an issue with someone letting somebody in the back door. I also know that, in speaking with Officer Kelsey, that the front door folks who are here today, my understanding, are very well respected and really run and I can see Chris nodding up and down, yes, that they're very well respected and run a tight show. So really, what we had the conversation with my client is that the actions that you have at the front door need to be taken at the back door. No one can come in the back door. Sometimes when you do get entertainment staff and entertainment, you know, their friends are coming in, they want to listen to them, and we have to put better controls, and we have talked about putting better controls on that back door to make sure that someone who's not, you know, normally associated as, you know, as an independent contractor that comes in to play music, doesn't let all their friends in the back door because they're at capacity. And that's something we've talked about, dealt with, and, you know, and Dave and John are very well aware of and have put in programs to implement that. So I appreciate the, the conversation. My clients, are here. They, they want to continue to do business. They, and I'm not going to lie, they're looking at some point coming here at some point, not right now, looking maybe to expand into the space next door. Maybe that also would relieve some of the issues with respect to overcrowding if they have, if their capacity goes up a little bit. So it is a small place so that might solve a lot of the problems as well. So.
Okay, thank you, Attorney Lawler. This is a discussion, but at some point we can determine a number of different options, whether or not we want to provide a verbal warning. We can deliver a written warning indicating any further violations would result in a show cause hearing. Or finally, we can have a show cause hearing and determine if the license needs to be modified, suspended, or revoked. Obviously, those are all options that will take place at a later point in time. But for discussion purposes, I'm just going to make a couple of comments and open it up to members of the authority, and then I want to hear once again from members of the staff, Director Logan and Detective Kelsey. I don't want to cast aspersions on any other contiguous or adjacent restaurants, as you might have suggested.
I wasn't casting dispersions. It's just
well, you were suggesting that people leaving other places were, and that's not what we have in our report. Nothing of that sort from Detective.
I want to be.
Excuse me.
I'm sorry.
I'm talking.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
I don't want to cast any aspersions on any adjacent bars or restaurants, because that's not what's in our report. Is strictly focused on the Blue Moon. People hopping the fence, going from one yard into the courtyard, smoking marijuana. People that were in the Blue Moon that ultimately went outside and that issue was created. So I just want to be sure that we're focusing on the Blue Moon and no place else.
Yeah. Mrs. Flores, may I speak now?
Yes.
I want to be very clear. I am not casting aspersions on anyone. What I was trying to convey, and if I conveyed it improperly, I apologize. What I was trying to convey is that's a very busy area where you have multiple places letting out at roughly right around the same time. So you have, especially on the July 11th, you have a tremendous amount of people outside that are congregating. There's no solution for that whatsoever, because you have, it's Main Street Hyannis. It's where, for whatever reason, the market's dictated that, bars and clubs, are located, and they're located there, for a reason, because people like to go to one place and then walk to the other place, and with the,
we've had those hearings before, so I understand.
I'm just saying, I'm just trying to explain that I'm not trying to cast aspersions on anyone.
I just want to be sure we're clear on that, and I commend the installation of a metal detector, but at the same time, I'm concerned that if you need a metal detector, perhaps the clientele that you're bringing in is very different from many of the other restaurants that are located on Main Street, and I'll leave it at that.
Well, it's not the clientele. It's just that a scary incident happened, and they're trying to be proactive. I mean, it's, if they didn't have one, people would say, well, why didn't you? It's kind of a catch-22. It has no reflection on the clientele whatsoever. It's a reflection on my clients trying to be proactive and trying to say, hey, it's a scary world out there. And, and if you look at the incidents in this world, it's across every clientele. And that's, something that, is pretty clear. So
I'll leave it at that. Any other comments from members of the commission?
I have a couple comments and maybe questions, if I can, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
I'm trying to wrap my head around this a little bit. It's a lot of information. Just quickly, if you can help me out, Attorney Lawler, and maybe the staff could, what exactly is the patio area? Is that outside dining? Is that a smoking area? Is that a stand outside and have cocktails area? What is the patio area? Is it tables and chairs? What exactly is the function of the patio area?
I believe there's tables and chairs out there. Yeah,
tables and chairs. People can go inside, outside, have their drink once we have entertainment going on.
It's defined by a metal fence that's about the height of my waist. All running, it blocks off from one side of the building to the other, and then it goes around, and then there's a small opening of about probably the size of a doorway in the beginning. So it's completely blocked off. It's 100% secure, except for that entranceway where staff is to let people in and out.
Right, and the reason for my question on that is that was my understanding as well. It's an outside outside dining area or seated table drinking area, I would assume. It's not a stand-around area. You got a table of what, 4 chairs, 4 people sitting at a table, and there's, what, 6 tables? Or 5 tables? I don't know.
I believe
But
so.
I don't understand how there's a congregation problem or an overcrowding problem on a patio if people are just sitting in their proper chairs. That's my
I
point.
think dinner's generally over by 10:30 or so, and there's probably some people that go out there to catch a breath of fresh air and have a drink, which they're allowed to because there is an occupancy out there. So the people, that's...
An occupancy of
what,
24 people.
24 people, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, and there was, apparently, I wasn't there, obviously, but I obviously take Detective Kelsey for his word. There was an overcrowding issue that we've dealt with.
Yeah. I'm happy to hear that the Blue Moon is thinking of expanding because in just my past experience in a previous life, the size of their footprint has always been a problem. It's been a very popular spot, but the numbers inside is only 30. We have 15 people in this room. So if everyone in this room was at the Blue Moon, they'd be at half capacity right now.
I understand.
You know?
And that's one of the things we're trying to address. I'm glad that you, and I appreciate you have the experience for forever, so I appreciate that.
Commissioner Travato?
Yep, I'm all set for now. Thank you. I mean, I'm going to have more.
Sure.
Thanks,
I do
Mr.
too.
Chairman. Yeah, I have a question for staff and then maybe comment. What is the entertainment aspect of their license right now? Do they have?
Thank you. Okay, so right now they have a non-live, 2 TVs, recorded music, and a live entertainment license, including dancing, that runs from 10 a.m. to 12:45. Wait, hold on, sorry. Where's their live? They're non-live. Going to my spreadsheet. Oh, they're not on here because they don't have outdoor dining.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, that's
there.
okay. I just, so it looks like, from what I see, 12:45 live, indoors only.
Go indoors.
While I kind of have the microphone, I'm looking at their certificate of occupancy issued by the building division, where they are allowed 38 bodies inside, 24 on the outdoor patio.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of, to someone who's been actively involved in Main Street for over 40 years, it seems the Blue Moon is sort of morphing a little bit towards late-night entertainment rather than just restaurant, but that's so be it. Little disconcerting that the capacity is 54, but Officer Kelsey observed 100 to 125. But I'm more concerned about lack of control. If the staff was not aware that the DJ was letting people in the back door and didn't do anything to address that, Mr. Law is stating that they're not their patrons coming in and out. Well, once they come in, they are their patrons, so they are responsible for them. So maybe control at the front door may be an issue as well. Do agree with the issue about the metal detector and what that might represent. So I guess just, what is the character of this place becoming? It's just concerning, just to me as someone who's been observing this for such a long time in Main Street, what's happening there. So that's all I have to say.
Commissioner Silva?
My question is for Detective Kelsey. Prior to these 2 dates, have there been any other calls to this location?
Calls for service, I would have to look into the log. The reason that I was there on those 2 dates was because I was getting complaints from neighboring businesses concerning overcrowding and people congregating next to the Blue Moon between the hours of 9 p.m. and 1 a.m. smoking marijuana. That's why I personally went out on the 11th and the 20th to observe for myself.
Any other questions from members of the authority or comments? Commissioner Murphy?
Question on surveillance equipment. Does the Blue Moon have
Cameras,
Video
yes.
cameras?
They do, yes.
Do you have cameras on the patio?
I don't know that. Pam?
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Yeah, they're very cautious of security, and they
On the
because of-
patio, on the back door, everywhere. And just for the record, the day that the DJ let some people go in from the back door, that was the last day that he actually came in and played music at Blue Moon. So we
My
never-
understanding is that when that incident occurred, they immediately cooperated with police, provided whatever they asked for, and that's one of the reasons they're doing all this. It's just they're being super cautious, which is saying it's a fine line. It's a delicate situation.
Well, it's not a fine line when there's only 38 or 24 and there's over 125 people.
Well, again, I think some of those people that were outside, again, I wasn't there. My clients have indicated
I
that
wasn't there
there was
either, but
definitely an overcrowding, but we don't think there was 100 and something people in there. There was
Yeah, there was a
60
400% overcrowding.
There's no question, and that is something that was dealt with and has been addressed. I think, again, Officer Kelsey indicated that the front staff is good, that there was a problem that we were unaware of. We dealt with it. And again, it wasn't, and I give Officer Kelsey credit. He didn't hit us with a violation. He said, hey, come on, let's have a discussion. So obviously my clients are doing something right if they're, that this is the process, that they were cooperating, they're working with them. And I really give the Officer, Detective Kelsey and the Barnstable Police Department really a tremendous amount of credit for the approach. Because we've had this conversation before, I've been here before with other businesses, and where there's been some conversations, well, you heard these things, if you gave us a heads up, maybe it's something we didn't know, maybe there's something we need to improve, and that's what he's done, and I appreciate that. And my client appreciates that.
Yeah, just a clarification for Chris. The 100-plus you observed, were they within the confines of the property? And I know that includes the fenced outside sidewalk, but just curious as to what that was.
And actually, that's what I was trying to get the chairman's attention on, just for clarification purposes. The count of 82 was people coming directly out of the Blue Moon. That did not count any staff. That did not count any entertainment. And the approximation of it being between 100 to 125 were people that I did observe coming out of the Blue Moon before I was able to go and actually start using my clicker, because I was dealing with another group on the side. If this ever did become an issue and needed to go further, I was wearing my body-worn camera at this time, and we would be able to go back and identify people person for person, I believe.
So my concern on this issue is that I know that this outdoor dining basically saved Main Street, quite frankly, being allowed to serve outdoors. And if this becomes outdoor late night, drawing crowds that may become problematic for the police department, that may end up eventually causing the town to maybe retract the outdoor dining, because you can't control what happens outside those little fences that you have for dining when they become nightclubs or become late night entertainment.
Oh, there's no intention of that becoming that.
It's not specific to just your
I understand.
this person
There's no-
business, but I'm concerned about that.
No red couches either, Mr.
Any other comments from members of the authority?
Yeah, could I just have a definition of what is a nightclub?
I'm laughing because Mr. Murphy and I have gone back and forth over that for, about 25 years now, John?
Yes. And my definition is correct. If you see it, you know it.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't need a definition of a nightclub. I can walk down Main Street and say, that's a restaurant, that's a nightclub. It's pretty obvious.
That came from the Supreme...
After 10 o'clock.
That came from the Supreme Court on a different issue.
Yes, I know it.
Okay. Other comments? Okay, this is just a discussion.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're not here to vote on any particular resolution, only to, I guess, state that, we want the Blue Moon to be successful, but we want it to be successful in a very safe and orderly way. So in terms of the numbers, in terms of the clientele, you really have to police that at a much better level so that Detective Kelsey and other members of the police department don't have a reason or a need to go there. We want you to succeed. So I guess this is really a verbal warning, if you will, just that, just take care of business and run the place appropriately so it's safe.
Most definitely.
So that folks aren't pouring out of your place, and if the words have been exchanged that then extend to the outside, it's going to come back on you. So you've got to make sure that you monitor that very, very closely. We want to work with you. I don't want to shut you down, but trust me, if there's a problem, we will.
No, and again, I know I've said this the third time. Thank you. This is a process that avoids problems, avoids coming back when there is a complaint, allows someone to understand that they're not doing things right. Jessica saw me grab the book. I wanted to make sure that they, my clients, read it again and make sure everything that's going on. And Aubrey, who is one of the other primaries I met with yesterday, he became ill this morning and apologized for not being here. And lastly, we're on the agenda just quickly. We want to reduce hours for the winter from full week to Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I don't know if we can do that now.
On the temporary and permanent closures.
Yeah. I don't know, is that an consent agenda, or is that a consent agenda, or is that just something you have to be here for?
It's just read into the record.
Just read into the record.
Oh, it's just read into the record? Okay. So, yeah, obviously. Okay. Well, thank you again.
Okay, and just one final comment. Not only am I speaking to you as the manager, but also your staff. Thank you for coming, and I'm sure you're listening loud and clear. We don't want to close you in any way, shape, or form, but we want you to run an orderly, safe location, and it's up to you and your staff to make sure that happens. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes.
The definition of a nightclub.
Thank you.
Is this according to Webster?
No, this is the definition which I received from the building commissioner, Mr. Florence.
Okay.
An assembly and occupancy with a high occupant load density that is generally characterized by at least two of the following: low light levels, music generating above normal sound levels, nighttime operating hours, tables and seating that create ill-defined aisles, a specific area designated for dancing, and service facilities for beverages with limited food services. So I would definitely say that this falls into the category of nightclub.
My back patio falls in two of those.
Well,
They're not open to the public.
I'm just teasing.
As Commissioner Murphy suggested, if it looks like a duck and walks like a duck, it's a duck.
I'm not denying.
And we're all intelligent adults. We can usually figure out if it's a restaurant or if it's a nightclub. It's a common sense issue, and sometimes that's not at a premium.
I'm not arguing with Mr. Flores.
Do you have a license for that patio, by the way?
Pardon me?
Do you have a license for your patio, by the way?
So my patio, yeah, no, I don't actually. But you're all welcome. I'll see you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right, next on the agenda is a discussion on outdoor entertainment. It's regarding consistency with regard to hours of outdoor entertainment for all licensed businesses. I can remember 2 years ago when I first brought this up as an issue, and then it came before us again last fall when Director Logan provided us with an extensive spreadsheet regarding hours of entertainment for all alcohol license holders. And so we've had some changes on the licensing authority itself, and we thought that this would be a good time to discuss moving forward relative to having a consistent manner with respect to the hours of outdoor live entertainment, because we're sort of all over the place depending on who you are and what you are, but there's a lot of ramifications if, in fact, if we move forward and try to formalize this into a more systematic way. So we really need to keep in mind how any changes that we might make or suggest impacts, if you will, the operating hours itself, as well as how it could affect a particular restaurant or a nightclub, for lack of a better term. So with that being said, we can begin discussions this morning and bring this into a formal kind of discussion and vote to accept leaving things as is, or we can make recommendations, but that would all be at a later date. I think the purpose of today is to introduce this as an issue and discuss if we want to move ahead with this or leave as is or something in between. So with that being said, I will ask Director Logan to share with us what she has provided.
Sure, thank you, Chair. So essentially, this is just a shaved-down version of what I provided last year. This is, you're only looking at outdoor live entertainment licenses within all 7 villages. So not a super long list, but I think you can definitely, when you look at the live stop time, it is somewhat all over the place. I might argue that something like Baxter's, where they're stopping at 8 p.m., that's fabulous. I think it's good. They serve their purpose, but we do have quite a few that have the 1245 license. Appreciating that, such as we heard earlier today, Cape Cod Beer is kind of isolated in a more industrial area. Maybe, we want to open it up, but we also want to consider all aspects, knowing that it may be different depending on the location of the actual establishment. But I definitely think, I'm going to kind of defer to Chris on this moving forward. I've just provided the data, and I'm happy to answer any questions that I can, but I think Chris is better to take off from here.
Before we have Detective Kelsey speak to this, I'm just curious, as an authority, there's a number of different live stop hours as listed on the spreadsheet. To change the hours of a particular entity, how would that even occur? We've approved them for a certain time. I don't think we can just carte blanche say, we at one time, last week you were closing at 12, next week you're going to close at 10, so that we have consistency throughout the town. I'm sure that's a welcome for a lawsuit from somebody, without question. So it's a sensitive. I'm not even sure we can do this in any sense of harmony, if you will. Are we opening up Pandora's box, and should we leave well enough alone? I'll stop there and let Detective Kelsey speak to it, and then I'll ask my fellow commissioners if they have comments.
Well, I'll work backwards. So for your last statement, what I would recommend is that no action be taken today or probably in the near future. This is a discussion to see what's out there and to see if there is something that can be acted upon. And I would say that at the very earliest, that any action would be taken would be at the next renewals, so that everyone had plenty of notice and that everybody had plenty of time to address what was going on. So by no means anything that I'm saying, and I believe I can speak for Director Logan, I don't think we're trying to sit there and say, hey, will you do this today? Because
that's not my suggestion at all. No, we're 100% in agreement. My point is that can we arbitrarily change the opening and closing hours if someone has had a license for X amount of years, based on past practice, which is always brought into any kind of a legal proceeding? And why are we doing it in the first place?
In speaking to that, I would say that I think you can. I would obviously ask for a legal opinion on that.
That's where I'm going.
And then, one of the things that you would look at, and I think you've alluded to it a couple of times today even, and I'm going to change up the phrasing, but basically an entertainment license, it's not a God-given right.
No, it's a privilege.
It's a privilege.
Absolutely.
And if this authority is going to sit here and say, hey, you know what, this is what is better for the public good, then I think you probably could, but I would definitely want to get a legal opinion. So where I'm coming from with this isn't to just say, hey, I want this change to this and this change to that. I'm looking for some sort of consistency. I'm looking for some sort of guidance. I'm looking for something that I can give to our patrol men and women out there when they get called to these establishments and say, hey, you know what, this is the guideline. This is on Main Street at all these licensed establishments. Outdoor entertainment ends at 10 p.m., 11 p.m., 12:45 p.m. I honestly don't care what the time is. I'm just looking for consistency.
Right.
In addition to that, I've been doing a little bit of research, and I have actually just recently spoken with the director on Nantucket because I'm familiar with those processes, and they're going through the same thing right now. They do have a bylaw that actually states a decibel number. We do not, at least not as of yet. But one of the things that they can do, or not that they can do, one of the things that they have started looking into is looking into systems that actually have mounted decibel readers. And you have that decibel reader set at a certain amount. And if, whether it's me or the licensing director or the patrol officer who's been on the job for 2 days, they can go by that establishment and it's either green, yellow, or red. Green, you're good. Yellow, it's like, hey, you know what, we probably need to have a conversation and back it down a little bit. Red, you're in violation. I'm not saying that that's what the town of Barnstable should establish. What I'm saying is there's different systems, there's different programs out there that we could actually start looking into. And again, that doesn't work unless the town adopts some sort of decibel number, whether it's through the licensing authority or through these ad hoc committees that town council and town leadership have put together. But at the end of the day, I'm just looking for consistency.
Right. Yeah, I would only comment that, obviously with the different closing of hours, you have folks that they're at one restaurant or bar and it closes at, whether it's 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, and they say, oh, 2 doors down, they're open till, 12:45, let's all go over there. I mean, it creates, if you will, all kinds of potential issues. So, once again, I'm not suggesting that we're going to make any decision at all today, but it's something that we need to consider down the road. So with that being said, any other comments?
Live entertainment always presents a challenge, not only to the people that hire the live entertainment, but also the people that abut the establishment having live entertainment. A lot is based on the entertainment themselves. They come in, some of these bands come in, and they think they're going to get discovered by American Idol. So they crank the music a little louder on a particular song, or they turn it down a little lower. And I think some of the changes in Hyannis will impact this. I mean, they're putting up apartments in places now that never had apartments before. And some of the places they're putting apartments up in, or condominiums in, there's been establishments, licensed establishments that have had entertainment licenses that have gone until 12:45. So if someone builds an apartment complex next to a licensed establishment that has an entertainment license, do they have the right then to turn around and complain that, their music is too loud at 12 o'clock when their music has been going till 12 o'clock at the same volume for 10 years or 15 years? So it's not a very easy topic to discuss and to find a solution. And so I don't think a one-size-fits-all is going to work, but it's going to take some work and some more further discussion, like the chairman said.
Any other comments?
Well, and two, I think that each one of these establishments is very, very different. They serve different clientele, different needs. There are people who want to go home at 8 o'clock. There are people who want to stay out until 1. There are people who think we close way too early, and half the other customers are home in bed. I mean, it just is all over the spectrum. And I would love to see some kind of standardization, but I have absolutely no idea how we would go about that.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
To give you a scenario, I go out, doesn't matter what night of the week it is, and I walk down Main Street, and I have 5 restaurants that have outdoor entertainment for music at conversational level that's recorded. Then I've got a restaurant that has live entertainment, but their entertainment is so loud that the people that are sitting at the restaurants can't listen to their music that's playing overhead and can't even have a conversation with them. Then I go further down the street, and you have a restaurant that has live entertainment until 11 p.m., but if they don't have live entertainment and go to recorded entertainment, their license stops at 10 p.m. So now they're having live entertainment because they can actually have live entertainment longer than they can have recorded entertainment. And then if you go inside to that restaurant, they can have live entertainment until 1:45. So these are the types of scenarios that we're dealing with. I'm finally at this point figuring out who has what, but there's no way in the world that I would expect any of our patrol force to understand the different nuances between every different licensee. And we're talking about just Main Street right now. I mean, if you expand it, then you've got other issues with different establishments, and some in residential areas, some in commercial areas, some that don't really have any houses around them per se, but they're across the water, so the noise carries. Those are all the nuances that we're dealing with on a regular basis, whether it's out during compliance checks or just getting phone calls from people.
I think, Officer Kelsey, that noise complaints, and you probably agree, need to be, in my opinion, complaint-based. You can drive down Main Street as a compliance officer and hear loud music, and you think it's loud. Well, if no one's complaining about it, then is it a public safety issue? Is it something that we should even be getting involved in? If the neighbors that are abutting it don't find it offensive or too loud, then that's different than an overcrowding issue, or congregating in front of the entrance, so it might create a fire hazard or erupt into some type of assault behavior.
To answer that question, I would agree with you at face value. But where the consistency part comes in is if I go down the street and this place doesn't have any noise complaints, but the place 2 blocks up the street had 5 noise complaints, and we just wrote them a citation, and then when I go to them and they tell me, hey, they're louder than I am right now, why did you write me a citation, but you didn't write them a citation? But the rules are the same for both.
Because
at
someone
that point,
complained,
it's not complaint
but
based.
someone complained.
But the rule isn't based on just complaints. The rule is based on what's written.
Which is why we need a decibel level of, I mean, that's a metric. In anything probably above 55 decibels begins to get loud. If you listen to consistently with music at 60 decibels, you can get sick from it. Typical vacuum cleaner, which is always a metric that people compare decibels against, is about 75 decibels. And if you go above that to the 80, 85, which is what most bands are doing in most groups, that is you make the body and the ears very vulnerable to damage down the road. So at some point, we'll probably be looking at that. But that's for another discussion. I guess what we're going to finally agree on is this is not a one-size-fits-all kind of discussion. And there's so many nuances, as you suggested. Detective Kelsey, you can walk down 100 yards and have 6 different times and expectations. And I don't envy you in that position, or anyone, or the owners in that position. So thank you, Aaron, for putting together this sheet. It's the beginning of a discussion. I think maybe in between, if it helps, to form some kind of a subcommittee of the licensing board. I'm not looking to have anybody do extra work, but just for discussion purposes, so that we don't clog our public meeting with discussions that could have perhaps been held at another point in time. We'll just have to be sure that there's no more than 2 people on that to avoid a violation of an open meeting law.
Ballpark figure, Director Logan, Officer Kelsey, noise complaints, did we have a lot of them this summer? Did we have none? Did we have some?
This summer, I can say we had less than last summer. Typically, we have the most amount of complaints on the same small handful of people. But even those people this year have been more compliant, we'll put it that way. But the number of complaints I got this year mostly came from other businesses. It wasn't coming from the residents. It was coming from other businesses on Main Street that were dealing with the loud noise coming from, whether it be a competitor or whether it be coming from, it could be a retail shop down the street from a person that has an outdoor entertainment license at their bar, and it's disturbing them inside of their retail shop. Those are the majority of the complaints we got this year.
That's a very astute observation, Officer Kelsey, because I can remember both of these businesses are no longer on Main Street, but there was a time where one business across the street was very popular with hip-hop and rap music, and the business across the street was Mexican music, and they were virtually 25 yards away from one another and had outdoor seating. So there was competing genres and not on the same page. So that's going to be an issue, and it'll be a challenge to navigate that.
For sure. Okay, so I will discuss with Director Logan perhaps additional meetings to discuss this further, and if anybody on the authority would like to be part of that discussion, I will appoint accordingly, but it can't be more than a couple of people. Okay, next on the agenda, this is temporary and permanent closures. This first one is Neptune's at 541 Main Street. They're reducing their hours, as is the Blue Moon at 430 Main Street, Hyannis. Before we, any comments from?
Sure.
the,
I just,
staff?
absolutely. So, for the record, one of the requirements is that licensees let us know when they're closing for any length of time. Before my time, it had long been that a lot of the seasonal establishments, they close Labor Day and Indigenous Peoples' Day, and we were never notified. So seasonal licenses actually do run until January 15th of the following year. So last year I created the temporary permanent closures. It should be noted that these are strictly for reduction of hours. Anything that is requested above and beyond the existing license hours would need to come for a formal meeting. So these are temporary reductions, or in a few cases, we've had permanent closures come out of a result of this.
Do we have dates regarding this temporary reduction, from when to when?
So on Neptune's and Blue Moon, they were both essentially immediately. I think something for your consideration is the rules and regs do require that if they're going to reduce, that they come before you beforehand. Past precedents will tell you we've never done that. That doesn't mean we can't. It's
Right.
just, we were lucky to even get people to start reporting that they were closing. So that's
Well, I
up
guess
to
I would
you.
only I'd ask two things.
Sure.
One, in the future, I mean, there's no reason to come for a hearing if the department, from a professional perspective, if you're okay with it, I don't foresee us, arguing as to, what the date should be, but we should know, when the date of closure begins and when it ends, whether or not they're a seasonal license or a annual license, and finally, the reason for closing.
I can do that.
So we have some legitimacy as to when we read this on the
Absolutely.
agenda.
I can absolutely do that. I do believe I have it on, in the system, I captured that information, and I did not put it on the notice, so I apologize, and I will in the future have those listed.
Because I believe,
Yep.
in the Blue Book, if you read it, there are certain dates and times that the bylaws do speak to what
Correct.
folks can do. And everyone always uses the same, we're doing maintenance and cleaning. Well,
Correct.
The fact is, you have no business in the middle of January. I get that, and that's when you do your,
Right.
you do your business. So
So
I'm
I-
not trying to not approve these, but if you can just, dates and reasons
got it.
would be more important,
Absolutely.
would be important to
And
us.
Since I had clocked this agenda, I have already a dozen for the next meeting. So I
Okay.
will keep you notified.
Any other comments from anyone on the commission? Not hearing any, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the temporary reduction of hours for Neptune's and Blue Moon as submitted.
Second, please.
Second.
Final discussion, not hearing any. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, that is a vote. Consent agenda as
Mr. Chair.
written. I'm sorry.
Okay, just on the consent agenda. I know I'm not a voting member today on this, but just full disclosure, I'm seasonally employed at the Cape Cod Maritime Museum, and so, going forward would not be just in discussion or voting on anything relative to them.
Thank you. Okay, so this is all Cape Cod Maritime Museum except the last one, Spectacle Live. And what are we doing here? Just approving. Staff comments?
No, wait.
I
I move to
no comment.
approve the consent agenda as printed.
Are any police details required for any of these?
No, I was asking for staff comments.
Sorry.
Before the motion.
No, there would not be, because this property is not town-owned.
Okay, so a motion has been made to approve the consent agenda as printed. No amendments to it. Do I have a second, please?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That is a vote. Okay, next on the agenda are licensing authority and division updates. I know that Director Logan gave us a sheet dealing with current compliance process and workflow and action steps, and questions came up at a couple of meetings as to when the licensing board gets informed of particular issues, as opposed to waiting to get to this particular public meeting. I guess that's all included in this document. Before I begin, are there any questions or issues that anyone wants to raise from the authority?
I actually brought this up. I had called the chairman about this because we had gotten the information about Blue Moon, and it was September that we had gotten the report, and these incidents had happened in July, and I was just curious as to why we had waited until September to get the report when the two dates were in July, and we had a meeting in July, and they were prior to that. So I was just curious as to what the process was. And so that was my question. Yep.
Okay. And I would only add that, based on past practices, different commissions do things differently. As new members come on, things change, expectations change. And, since my election as the chair, I'm active in, what is happening in the community, just to make sure that, we're all on the same page and we're moving forward in a very positive way. So I think that this is really just to codify, if you will, what is our protocol in terms of how we're informed, how things happen, how things occur, and not wanting in any way, shape, or form to hinder any kind of police investigation or police work or anything associated around that, but just so that we know in our own head, what we can expect and what we not to expect.
Yep, and just to answer Member Silver's question, the delay was on my end. That information came to me in July through our OpenGov system. That would have normally just been a discussion we had informally. It kind of was in the pile of everything else to do, and then the stabbing occurred, which is what, for me, like immediately I said, we're not even going to have the informal at this point. Now, granted, it was a month later, so that was not on the fault of BPD at all. And then, as you know, the matter came before us to continue to the next meeting as requested by the attorney. So that was part of the reasoning for why it was delayed so long. Typically, and I think perhaps Detective Kelsey can confirm or deny that, usually when we have a matter that requires an informal discussion, we meet with them within days, if not a week. I think that's been our pretty much consistent past practice. There were variables happening in July I will not get into that delayed this on no part of anyone's but my own. So that's where we are, but we had a meeting with Chair Flores about a week ago and pretty much said this is our process. How do you want to move forward? So this is just kind of a summary of that process, and hopefully we can, see how it goes for a few months and revisit if we feel like there's some issues. I'm happy to take feedback, recommendations.
Thank you, I appreciate
Well,
that.
I would only say thank you, Erin, for putting this document together based on our conversation in our meeting from a few weeks ago. It'll give us an opportunity to look at this a lot more closely, and if we have questions or concerns, anyone can reach out to her directly, as opposed to discussing it publicly at a meeting such as this. Okay. With that being said, again, thank you for that. And Police Department updates, Detective Kelsey.
I think I've spoken enough today.
Well, we always like your pearls of wisdom. We're ready, willing, and able to listen if you have more. Okay, with that being said, our next two meetings are October 22nd, 2025, and November 19th, 2025. Let's see, matters not reasonably anticipated by the chair. There aren't any, so I guess we can, I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry.
I didn't see you.
I know, I apologize. I really feel it's important that I make a quick statement to the public, because I had sent out, in an effort to get everyone prepared for the renewals this year, sent out emails to our Class 1 and Class 2 auto dealers, as well as our annual common victular and alcohol license holders, reminding them that the season is upcoming. And some folks are frantic, thinking they've already missed the deadline. They have not. It's just a warning that it's coming. You haven't missed anything, and emails will be going out in October for Class 1, Class 2 lodging houses and common victulars without alcohol. And November 1st, it's a Saturday, but yes, you will be getting an email from me on annual alcohol license renewals. So thank you.
Thank you. Before we move to adjournment, any other questions or comments that anyone would like to make?
I just have a quick question for Director Logan. At the alcohol licenses with the consent agenda, so it just for my educational purposes only, if the license is going to be approved, then it's just put on the consent agenda?
Correct.
The basis of my question is like, just to use today's example and not to pick on the Blue Moon or highlight the Blue Moon, but we obviously discussed, we had an open discussion on what the issues were. Would they, when they renew their license, just go on the consent agenda? In the past, before we had the consent agenda, they used to have to come before the board. In these particular cases where we've talked about particular locations that have had problems, whether it's overcrowding or music violations or what, and there's really been no action that their license will be approved, I would think that to follow up with those particular establishments, to pull them off the consent agenda and make them come before the board just so we could touch base with a particular place and say, look, you know, you were here last year and we had a problem. How's things going? Do you have a new manager? Do you have new policies? What do you got in place? I think would be educational for the board. And educational for the public, and I'd like to see something like that.
I think that's an excellent suggestion and recommendation. So if someone has a demerit against their record, that as opposed to them just being automatically included on a consent agenda, that they're separated and they have to come before us for discussion purposes.
That is well within, yeah.
I think that's an
And I'm
excellent
not saying it
idea.
to punish them or embarrass them or to take up times in the days, but I think it's important for them to know that the board is paying attention to these things. The public is watching the board pay attention to these things, and they are also getting support from us. You know, positive feedback, like you have made corrections. Thank you very much, type of thing.
No, I hope that the board as it currently exists, you know, we do our homework. We work closely with the town employees to be sure that what it is that we're doing is in the best interest of the town of Barnstable. I mean, we're not here to hurt anybody, to hinder anybody. I think we're all pro-business folks, but at the same time, you know, we're concerned with public safety, with the butters, with the community at large. So, you know, we want to collectively work together. So that's an excellent idea.
If I
Commissioner
could just
Petrolato.
add on to that, what about, I'm just curious about renewals, maybe, you know, because we've gone to a consent agenda format, used to be able to ask a question of someone for renewal, because
Right.
maybe something just came, maybe they didn't come up before us in the past year, but maybe, you know, you may want to have a question about something about, before you want to, you know, consent to their renewal. But what's our mechanism
I think
for
we
that?
can always, I think if there's an issue of concern from anyone who was on the commission, if they see a particular item or a particular entity that's listed, we can always have a separate discussion on them and approve a consent agenda without approving them and have them come in if there's a major concern.
Just want to make sure
I mean,
there's some
we can be-
mechanism if there
we
was
can
a
be-
question we
we can
wanted
be
to ask of
flexible.
those people.
Yeah, we can be flexible.
Okay.
Yes.
I have a whole database. I can provide everyone with a master list tabbed out for each license type so that you can see the establishments that are coming. Just because by the time you get the agenda, we have a week. And certainly, we have a requirement of 3 days to give notice to have someone come in. So that's completely fine. I agree with that. But I would echo Chair Flores, if you have a business that you're concerned with, first of all, bring it to us also, but we can pull them out and pull them in for a formal approval of the renewal.
Yeah, I don't want us to be doing that willy-nilly. There has to be a real reason as to why we do it. You know, because you had a bad meal at X restaurant, I don't want anyone coming before us and saying, let's pull them and check it out again. That's not our role, that's not our purpose.
We collectively have about 140 alcohol licenses, about 68 auto dealers, I think just under 24 lodging houses, and 72 establishments with restaurants without alcohol. So I guess that speaks to why we do a consent agenda, because they all have to be done in November and December. But
Right.
yes, communicate.
I also don't want to add additional layers of work to your work plate, so to speak, because the department's already understaffed, has been for a few months, if not longer, and that's something that I was going to bring up with Director Anthony, just to make sure that we're addressing that somehow, so that what it is in terms of needs and concerns of this department get met. And if it means us going to town manager, town council to support that, I'm ready, willing, and able to do that.
I do appreciate that vote of confidence. Erin has shown that she can meet the immediate demands, but what it does is it comes at the expense of some proactive items. The fact that her workload is now encumbered with a lot of administrative stuff that could be done by some assistants at a lower grade level that would free her up to be able to do that is something that we are acutely aware of. There is a procedure in place for us to evaluate how funding could be restored in order to pay for that. That is an internal process that we are working with, and we have brought that to the town manager for discussion. So I don't think that we need your endorsement quite yet. We'll have to see how that plays out.
Well, it's out in the public now, you already have it.
I think modern technology and OpenGov and the online permitting that most of the businesses have shifted to, not just for licensing, but for most of the different departments in the town, has certainly taken a bit of the pressure and stress off of the administrative side, but it doesn't eliminate it entirely. And I think the hope was that automation would take care of all of that. And what we're finding is that that really isn't the case, and we need to find that sweet spot by restoring some hours of support. Now, whether we do that with cross-training or we do that with a dedicated person, that's all an internal matter that we're going to work out with the town manager. I wanted to speak about the idea of agenda formation, because I think that we're touching upon a very critical role that you as the chair would play in the formation of an agenda. And if there was someone on the commission or the authority who wants to bring something forward, the 2 points of information need to be John Flores as current chair and Director Logan as the current licensing director. I think how chairs create and form that agenda is a delicate thing. You have to balance the depth and breadth of what is there. You bring the important stuff in and things move to a consent agenda. I've seen a number of different bodies deal with consent agendas that on the floor, they will pull something out of the consent agenda and take it up if any one of the members wants to do that. This speaks a little bit to how the licensing authority is going to interact with the chair and then in agenda development. And I think I welcome this revisitation. Over my career here, we've seen a number of different licensing authority chairs, different licensing directors, and their personalities and their ways of their comfort levels have changed based on the makeup of the authority. We have a revitalized authority. We have 6 people here. There was a time when we were running with 5. And welcome, Mike Travato. It's great to have everyone here because you learn as you go. And I think that there's an opportunity now to refine that. So from a procedural standpoint, as we take a look at the E-code and we take a look at our licensing code and we take a look at all of our regulations, this is a great opportunity for us to constantly refine this. And a lot of it is going to come at your direction as the current chair. And if it should change, whoever the new chair is would bring their personality as well.
Point well taken. Anybody else? Okay, then we will finally entertain that motion for adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is a vote. This meeting is concluded. Thank you all.
The more intense the emotion, these birds